So what I'm going to give you in this video is a call script I've used to sell over $100 million worth of software. Yes, this has generated over $100 million in total sales, and it's point blank, shoot, point, simple. You've probably seen all sorts of other call scripts on the internet and all sorts of other scripts out there that use advanced sales methodology and all sorts of complex processes and take a closer who has a year of experience to do this with. What I'm going to show you right here is so incredibly simple that if you understand the framework of this, you really don't need a script at all in a call. You can just go through this framework and inevitably the person ends up concluding that they need to pay you money. This is extremely simple for new closers, experienced closers to close with. And when I started using this at my software companies, which all combined do about over $30 million per year, it was shockingly easy to get closes. And in fact, I could keep ramping up the price, ramping up the price, ramping up the price, because what this does is it taps into what I like to call an impossible to say no to situation. It's like walking up to someone and slapping $100 on the table and saying, if you give me $20, I'll give you this $100. They're just gonna do it. So let me walk you through this framework of what we do. Now, if you're using this to sell, you're probably primarily doing this in B2B. So this is gonna work exceptionally well if you're in B2B. But more so, I want you to understand the persuasion process that we're using here. So I'm gonna walk you through the sales call that we use at Hyros. Now, I would run this thing all the time and I didn't even have a script. I would just follow this process right here and then it would just simply work. So what you need to figure out when you're talking to a business is what they believe that they're losing or not gaining by not doing certain things. You want to figure out their beliefs and then use their beliefs. I don't want to use the word against them, because when you're on a sales call with somebody, if you have a good product, what you're doing is helping them. Like, the person's going to join your product and they're going to make more money. When a person joins Hyros and listens to the things we say on the sales call, they're making 15 to 20% more from their ads, because it's just simply inevitable if you're using correct data and then feeding it back to the AI. That's how it works. It's like the difference between driving a car blindfolded and drunk and just taking the blindfold off and not doing heroin before you go on your nightly drive. It's a much better experience. So I'm going to use kind of a me versus them kind of analogy when we go through this, but I never want you to think as a person on the call you're trying to persuade or trick or get into like some funnel. Like, if the person doesn't get results with your product and you hype anything up past the point of what your product can do, they're just going to refund, they're going to charge back, and your business ultimately won't scale. So the first thing you should really do before you even apply these sales processes is get to the point where you can actually get results for businesses on command. That's the most important thing first. If you can do that, everything else will fall into place. You could just literally hop in a sales call and put up testimonials and you would do pretty well. But let's talk about everything we're doing at Hyros. And then what I want you to do is I want you to look at the process that we're using to convince the person. So what we do when the person comes on is we listen to their complaints about their tracking and their setup and their systems with ads, okay? And so what we're gonna do first and foremost on is we're gonna talk about, do you see where all your sales are coming from on Facebook and Google ads? Okay, so do you see where all your sales are coming from? Ultimately, we know the answer to this is no. Okay, so we're going to say, all right, out of 10 sales that come in, how many of them are actually tracked by your Facebook and Google ads? They're going to say 5, 6, 7, something like that. Okay, so we're just going to lay it out right there. How much do you think that is stopping you from actually seeing gains in your business? How much do you think that's preventing you from running profitable ads? And I'll say, well, I don't really know. I have these ads running right here. I don't see where all my sales are coming from, but I see where a good amount of them are. I say, well, do you think that makes your decisions sloppier? Do you think that makes your ads run worse? And they say, yeah. And I say, all right, cool. So would it be like improper of me to say 15% of your ads, you could go 15% further if you saw the rest of these sales coming in and you were able to actually make correct decisions? They say, yeah, that makes that a lot of sense. And I say, okay, how much is your business making? And they say, okay, it's making $100,000 a month. So we're saying right off the bat right here, you're losing about $15,000 a month in scale just because you can't see where the numbers are coming in. Is this correct? Yes. Okay. So then what we do is we repeat the process again with ad waste. Okay, so again, you don't see what ads are actually making you money. How much do you think this leads to you actually guessing which ads? How many times have you turned on ads or kept your ads running without actually knowing the real results? They're going to say all the time, something like that. And so, okay, all right, let's imagine again, we fix that problem and you start turning off your losers as well, or you start optimizing your ads to the pinpoint. Would you say that would increase your ad revenue or cut 10% of waste in the account? Again, yes. All right, how much is your business spending on ads per month? I don't know, $50,000 a month? Okay, so can we agree that would be like $5,000 saved? Yes. So what's the total of this amount right here? $20,000. So what have I done so far on this business sales call? I've gotten the person in their own words to tell me they are losing $20,000 a month in gains and waste by not tracking their ads correctly. We haven't even talked about the product. We just talked about their pain point and the pains they're experiencing. They're losing $20,000 a month. Okay? And they believe it's due to not being able to see this number right here. So the first thing we do is we identify the problem that they're having, and then we put a number to the problem. Can you always do this with like self-help or like coaching or guru stuff? No, that's why that shit is so hard to sell. That's why when I build businesses now, I make sure I can do this damn thing right here because it leads to the best sales pitch of all time. So person comes in right here. We just identified that due to not being able to see their numbers, just going to draw 1,000 arrows in this video, by the way. They're wasting, in this example right here, 20% of revenue. 15,000 in lost scale, 5,000 in wasted ads. So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show us fixing this problem right here. What we do is we go, and this is where it gets important in B2B, we find a business inside of Hyros, of course, with their approval, that is in the same niche and has the same exact problem. So if it's an e-commerce store, we find an e-commerce store. And then we show them how e-commerce stores are losing tons and tons of money. Now, I want to stress one thing right here. If you've ever looked at Hyros or you looked at your own product, there's probably 1,000 other different things that you do. That doesn't matter. There has to be one core thing that they're going to get because people are too ADHD. This isn't the point where we walk them through every single feature and everything we do. We simply want to focus on one thing. This number right here, which they believe in, okay? So I'm going to show them a similar business getting the results that they want, cutting the waste, and I'm going to show them their profit going up, them being able to see and identify where all their sales are coming from, and then being able to eliminate waste. And so then we can actually show them the scale. We say, all right, here's an e-commerce business. Look at all the sales they're tracking. Look at how their revenue's gone up the last few months. Here's another e-commerce business. Here's another e-commerce business. Do you see this? Do you see it routinely fixing the problem that you have? They say yes. They say yes. And so what we're then going to say is, all right, if you were able to fix this in the same exact way that these businesses were, do you think you'd make that additional 20K per month? I mean, that's your words. You said if we fixed this problem right here and we were able to go and eliminate these two things, you'd be making an extra $20,000 per month. They say, yeah, I mean, good. I'm like, all right, let's actually take it down a notch. Let's cut it in half. Let's just say $10,000 per month. All right, let's not even be hyperbole right here. Let's say you get terrible results. Do you think you could still go and save or gain $10,000 per month more? Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. We agreed on 20K per month. But now let's just cut it in half and let's say you get poo-poo results. So then at this point in time, you can see the exact game we've played here. The value of what I'm offering them is 10K a month, $100,000 per year for them. That's the number that they've put on. This is the number they gave us. You can't go and tell them how much something is worth, but you can have them tell you how much it's worth to them all day long. If the person's saying $0, like if they get on a call and they come in and say, oh, no, I'm not tracking any of my sales, but I don't think it's losing me any money, and I don't think I'm wasting any money by running my ads like a drunk lunatic. We have to go back to the start and identify, like, all right, why do you believe that? Because obviously you're not seeing, you're guessing and whatnot. And we have to come back and reconfirm this thing. But 90% of people that come in are going to already know they're losing and wasting money. So at that point in time, what do I have to do to get this person to buy? What do I have to do to get them in? Is I have to prove without a shadow of a doubt that what I just said here, this 10K, the 20K in results they're going to get is true. So what I then do is we show them a long page, and you're going to notice in every sales tactic, like for example, last few videos ago, I showed you the most impactful funnel that you can use for ads ever is a testimonial funnel. I'll link to that below this video in the description and at the end of this video. You've also seen when I run ads and I use the scripts in there, I use a lot of testimonials and I use the same process just in a shorter framework. You can see the exact scripts, and in fact, the most high converting ad I've ever ran, also linked below this video in the description and at the end of this video. Just tell you how it all works. But you're again going to see me come back to the same exact tactic. We go and take them to a page based on their business model that shows them an unlimited amount of results, this obnoxious amount of results of people in their niche, their industry, getting results with Hyros and getting this money saved in what they're doing. Then at that point in time, we also show them famous people. Now, you're not going to always have testimonials from famous people when you start your business. You're not always going to have hundreds of results. That's why the first thing you want to do when you start your business is get those testimonials. Get them from lower level people, lower level businesses that you do the work for free for. Now, I talk about how to do this in that other testimony video. I'm not going to get into it, but there is a complete strewn together way to get testimonials for your business and do this exact same tactic. It's not reserved to our business. And I was able, when I used Hyros, to go and lure in big famous brands and large brands by using the processes, again, linked below this video and going to be shown at the end of this video. So just watch it. So I show them endless testimonials, and then I show them famous people testimonials that are using Hyros. Then what we do is we go through the pitch. We break down, all right, you're going to use Hyros. You're going to join. You're going to get a one-to-one assistant. We kind of break down what the product does. Okay. And then what we do is we price it at a comical amount lower than what it makes them. So for example, if the person's doing 100K a month, they're probably going to make an extra 15K a month just using Hyros. Okay. So we can easily bill them $700 a month for that. So we say, all right, cool. You want to make that 15K extra a month? Yeah, cool. All right, how much is that worth to you? They say, well, you know, at least like $2,000, $3,000. They're expecting some huge, crazy number. We come in right then and say, okay, it's just $700 a month. Is that worth it to you? Yes. All right. Well, you want to do it for a year and you want to save 30%, right? So just $5,000 up front now gets you the entire year. Pow. And this point right here, we're pointing out to them, hey, you're trading $5,000 for an extra $100,000+ a year. At this point, the person's all in. Now, how do we get the person over the fence if they're thinking, all right, I don't know if I want to buy right now, why not? There's all sorts of ways you can close. And for example, there's tons of good closing techniques on like Alex Hormozi's channel as well. I'm not saying don't use those. What I'm saying is you want to be in this insanely powerful position right here before you even start closing. Right now, we have them in their own words saying this product would make me money if it works. We then show them hundreds of times that it works. We show them people they respect that it was working for. We show them our near perfect Trustpilot reviews. So again, there's no doubt that this works. Then the final thing we're going to do right here is we're going to offer them a guarantee that if they don't get these results, they don't pay for it. You should be able to do this with your product. If you can do this, you're going to get so many people in the door. We make this 90-day guarantee at Hyros on any payment that if they come in and they don't see these results, we'll just refund them. And this gets everybody across the fence because, again, it's like, what do you think is going to go wrong here? You just told me how much money this is going to make you. We just proved that this is going to make you that money. And then we're taking away every single risk. Why won't you join? Now, this is where more traditional closing processes are going to come from. You want to figure out what the person, why they might not want to join and then counter those objections or find ways to push them off. So for example, a person might think, well, I don't know if I'm going to be able to set this up or if it's going to apply for my business. Oh, that's a really good question. Here's 10 other businesses just like yours that set this up. And by the way, we'll just have someone do it for you. One final tip I'll give you when you're closing on these things is design your product around the close. If you know people are going to have resistance when they're saying, oh, you know, I don't know if I'll be able to set this up or get it applied or if I'm going to be able to read the data, already have that worked into your product for when they say that. And so when you do these calls, you're always going to see specific things pop up. Design your offer around that as you evolve your product and your company. So this right here isn't so much like a 5-point step-by-step exactly what to say pitch. What it is a framework of how to convince people to do literally anything when it comes to B2B or service-based business calls, which is what you're primarily going to be selling. I don't think you're going to be selling protein powder over the phone, okay? I think you could probably use this logical process to consumer marketing, but I've never done that before. And so the point I want to get to you in this video is you don't want to use, you can use scripts and exact things to say, but it's way better to have a framework of where you're trying to get the customer to, and just in a chill, relaxed way, going through that framework. What's the first thing I got to do at Hyros? We have to identify that they have a problem. Okay, then we have to quantify the problem. They have to quantify the problem for themselves. I can't say, oh, this is losing you $10,000 per month. I have to say, how much is this losing you per month? You're doing $100,000 a month. You're spending $50,000 a month on your ads. You know, how much is this causing you to lose? Well, I don't know. I'm like, all right, well, let's just like think about it. Let's like break it down. We're just going to sit there and we're going to do that until they come up with a number on their own. If the person thinks they're losing $0 and they have no use for this, they wouldn't be on the call. Okay. And they're definitely not going to close if they think they don't have a problem whatsoever. So you've got to dig that up first, quantify it, sell them it for less than they think they've quantified, or if they think they're losing $10,000 a month, sell it to them for $1,000 a month. Then prove it undeniably. Then remove all risk. Then deal with basic objections and whatnot. This is a very simple pattern you can follow that anyone can follow, and you can do it in a very chill way. New reps can do it. Old reps can do it. And if you have really elite sales skills, it's just going to complement this pattern that we just went through. But you're not going to get anything done with some elite sales script until you've done all those steps that I just did. If a person doesn't believe they have a problem, and more specifically, they haven't quantified that problem, they're not going to want to pay you for a solution. If you make that solution less than the quantified number that they described, they're going to see it as a ROI. If you prove it then works with tons and tons of testimonials, they have have no doubts. And if you remove all risk, they have no reason not to try. This is the perfect situation to get someone to give you money. And this is the perfect situation to apply any other sales skills you have. So that being said, if you want to see how I get tons of testimonials and results for people in my businesses, there's a link right here on the video right now, also in the description. You want to see the exact ad script I use to get people to these funnels? Right here. You want to see the funnels themselves and what I sell? Also right here. It's all laid right here. No pitches, nothing being sold to you on this channel. Enjoy. That's all there is to it. I don't have anything else to tell you. So I'll see you next video.